Finally, the Talent Whisperer is here, and welcome everyone to episode 1. Make some noise! Woo! I think you should get one of those machines, you know, that does the
yes.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to finally launch this. It's been a dream of mine. I've always wanted to have a podcast or some kind of TV show, and I'm really excited that I get to do this with my very first guest, Pamela Chibwe. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you.
So, anyone who's wondering, Pamela is the founder and CEO and also head stylist of Beauty Garden Salon Lounge and Le Closet Boutique.
Yes.
And you can't really, anyone who's been around Lusaka for the last, 20 years definitely knows Pam. She is a pioneer and truly the OG of like everything high-end beauty and high-end fashion. She's been in business like 20 years, over 20 years now, 20 years this year.
20 years, yes.
She's been in business 20 years. And the one thing I can tell you about Pam is that sis is consistent, right? She is a savvy businesswoman and has great style and taste, and also has just had the longevity in the business to truly be an inspiration to all of us, and has had, 20 years in business is something that a lot of us can only dream of. So welcome, Pam, to the Talent Whisperer.
Thank you so much for having
So,
me.
yeah, thank you. So the whole point, I think the reason I wanted to start this podcast was to talk to people like you, people I think who have had the courage and who have been brave enough to lean into their God-given gifts and talents and make a career, pursue a dream, make a career, or have a business out of it. So this platform, I'm hoping, will inspire people out there to take a chance on themselves, because I really truly believe that all of us are genuinely gifted and have talents that if we just gave ourselves a chance, would see something absolutely amazing. Okay, so Pam, I always think to understand the person you are today, or to understand this powerhouse of a woman, we have to go to the beginning.
Chico, you're so kind. The way you're describing me, I'm like, is that me?
That's genuinely how I see you.
Oh, thank you so
From the
much.
first time I met you, I was like, who is she?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm humbled.
So I think going back to the beginning is always a really good way to understand
Yes,
who someone
yes.
is. And I'm curious, what were you like as a kid? How would you describe yourself, like young Pam, when you were, a little girl, when you started to get that kind of awareness of, oh, hi, I'm Pam, I'm here. What were you like? What were you good at? What were you good at when you were a kid?
What was I good at? Wow.
So let's start with what you were like.
Yeah, I was that kid that just did not socialize. That's the awkwardness about all this. And I think I was that kid that was in trouble, in the sense that if my parents or relatives came to visit, I wouldn't know how to socialize, but I would do their hair or help them dress up or help with everything else.
Oh, really?
So I think that's a pretty much description of...
So even then you were like introverted and kind of socially awkward?
Yes.
But the way you'd connect is through doing
a
people's
chore,
hair.
yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
doing a chore.
Yeah, doing a chore somehow with them. Yeah.
Okay, and when did you and I'm curious, at what point did you, because when I look back in my own childhood, I was never good at I was never good at chores. I was also just never good at hair. I was never good at, dressing myself or dressing others. And if you remember, we used to do like mukule on our doors or on the grass.
Yes.
And at that point, I already started to feel like, there's something missing. Like I'm not really good at this. So at what point did you kind of figure out like, I can do hair. Like I can do hair better than her.
I think the position you just
Or
described.
Him.
The position you just described, where you're sitting and everybody actually does come to you whenever they need help. So, I mean, people around you always tell you what you're good at if you pay attention. They will actually tell you. So as you get older, it even becomes more in you, because you've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
as just part of you, and then as time goes on, someone points it out and so on. So at that point, at which point is your question, like in age or?
I think in age. I would be curious about in age as well. Yeah.
I think after my grade 8 from boarding school.
Where did you go to boarding school?
Chibombo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So not so far from Lusaka.
No.
But far enough.
Yeah, far enough. And you know what a boarding school
Yeah.
does? It compresses all of you guys, and you get to, everybody gets to dig deeper into who they are, because there's so much restriction and time.
Yeah.
So I would make appointments on Sundays, like I'm doing this one's hair,
man.
I'm doing this one's hair on Monday, and
You know, I really relate to that. You just said something and it took me back to so I was at Kasisi.
okay.
It took me back to my time at boarding school. And I think I quickly realized I wouldn't be the girl that does the hair, or, you know, and lucky enough I got a wonderful playing mom who used to help me with grooming.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I was an entertainer, right? So the way you're talking, I remember Saturday afternoons, because Sunday morning was hectic with like the chores, like the cleaning.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
that's where you
boarding
put
school,
Cobra and
Yes.
shined. So what would happen in the afternoons is I would tell movies. So I had the ability to like memorize movies, and then people in my dorm room would like sit around me, and then I'll tell them the movie. Like I'll play all the parts. Like I'll play the part of this person, and then I'll play the part of this person. And like at that point I was already like entertaining people, talking to people. And when I look back, some of my favorite movies, I remember like The Devil's Advocate and American Pie, which was like a really dirty comedy.
Yes.
And I couldn't understand half the things they were talking about, but I get that. I never really connected that boarding school was the place where some of those gifts that to be pulled out out of us. That's really fascinating. Oh, nice. So like, and then tell me about that journey, like towards now, when, you know, when you get to grade 12 and there's that like pressure to start figuring out like what's next, you know. And I know you've been in this business over 20 years. You know, you don't look a day above 30. and, and I guess at which point
that laughter was just too much.
I loved it.
That's Did you just say that?
Yeah. And like, so at which point, because I know you started this business when you were quite young, and you probably had aspirations as to what you might want to be. And I kind of want to understand that journey. Like, was it out of love of just like knowing you wanted to own a hair salon? Was it out of necessity?
No. Yeah.
Like how did that journey then happen to get there?
When my mother died, then
how old were you when she passed?
I think I was 16. Yeah. And at that point, I became a mother figure to my sisters. So I think that's where it started from. I had other aspirations, of course. But during the course of the years that followed, my father then died.
Oh.
Then it became a survival thing, skill. Obviously, someone told me I could do a business out of it. I never thought of it like that, because for me it has always been just natural.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to be an air hostess.
You would have been great at it. Like, you know.
So I wanted to, and sometimes I do wonder if, maybe it's a little bit too late.
About the road less traveled, the path you didn't take.
Yes. Yeah, so it was a survival skill turned into a business. Yeah. And so far it's been fine.
Okay. And I'm curious about the air hostess thing, because sometimes I noticed this about myself, you know. I think what I've truly wanted to do is this, like connect with people and talk about their stories. And the reason this podcast is called Talent Whisperer is really because when I was also like, when I was 16, is when I realized I could make connections in my head for people and what they were good at, and and connect
I
them to
remember I once
opportunities.
asked you how you found
Yes,
yourself in
yes,
work. Yeah.
exactly. And it was like someone called me once, and I don't know why they thought I would know
No,
where they could find a
yes.
reception, because I was
Uh-huh.
straight out of high school, right?
Yeah.
But somehow when they asked me that question, I was able to map like, oh, this person, this is
Yeah.
what they do, and connect to like my friend's older sister. This is what she
Yes,
does. She'll probably be like
yes,
perfect for this
yes,
role.
yes.
That was probably like my first like recruiting or headhunting role, very unassumedly, like you at 16. I just like
Yeah.
did it. At that point, I didn't think much of it, whether I was good at it and whatever.
Yeah.
That came later.
Yeah.
But I think what I was trying to get at was the fact that, like you said something earlier around, sometimes people see something in you,
Actually, all the time.
yeah, that you haven't seen yourself,
Yes.
and you just need that like extra
Yeah.
nudge. But also, like, as a person, I don't believe in coincidences, and I don't think we've got any science or data to prove this. But if the two of us sitting here kind of like made a big discovery of something we're good at the age of 16, I would, or made that like big transition, I would actually think there's probably something there. Like, this whole thing of figuring out what your gift is or what your talent is starts out probably
Yeah.
when you're pretty young, and
Yes, yes.
a different circumstance
It
will
does.
bring it out, but maybe not everybody gets the opportunity to pursue it, you know?
True.
Yeah. But that's a really good story. And like, sometimes, yes, things I guess can happen out of like survival, and then you figure out that
yeah.
you're actually good at it. But when you think about you wanting to be an air hostess, do you think you were attracted to like the same thing that attracts you to like high-end fashion? Because air hostesses, especially back in the day, were like
Yeah.
super glamorous.
If they still are.
Even now, yeah, like they were like, it looked like the most glamorous job ever, you know?
I think the one thing that I think I admired most about it, and I try to live it in my daily life because it's never gone away, is taking care of somebody's, would you like something to drink? Are you okay? Are you comfortable? Are you, yeah. So it's glamorous. Well, I would have loved it.
But I guess you're like, you love,
I still wonder.
you still wonder.
But
There's something, I'm trying to remember it. It's something about people being service oriented,
yes.
you know?
I think that's where it points to. Yeah, as in the fashion world, I don't really think so. But in my service business on the Beauty Gardens Salon Lounge, I think it allows me to still live my dream that way. I have people seated, or you can go through.
Oh, you can go through here.
Yes, so please.
The exits are here and here,
Yes,
in case of a fire. Okay, and like, at which point, you know, so you start your business, right? So I don't know if you know this, but I grew up in North Mead.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
well,
so
I do, but
I know we both
think
like.
we together as
yeah.
friends, yeah.
So I grew up in North Mead, and I do know that like your salon was always there. You know, even when I was like much younger, I knew like your salon was there. What I think one of the things, and there was a time my mom and my sister had like a store somewhere. We were distributing Iman products.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so we
yes,
actually
I
had
do
a
remember.
store
Yes,
there,
yes.
and the one thing
store
yes,
upstairs.
yes, that was us.
Yo,
That was
nice.
us. Uh-huh.
Oh, I used to love it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I always think we'll be back.
Please be back. There's no Iman.
There's no
we
Iman.
shouldn't-
Yeah, we shouldn't start that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, you know, I remember that being like, in those days, like Seven Diamonds Mall, Heritage were like pretty high end,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, you know, right across there's like North Mid Market, where you
Yes.
also have like salons.
Yes, yes.
So because you're young, you're starting out a business, you obviously, you know, you're trying to be a little more conservative, I guess. Yeah, I would think. But
Okay.
you were just like, okay, go big or go home. We're going in this high-end building, and this is what we're going to like stand for. Like, what was that like that decision making in deciding? And I'm saying this so young. I think when you're older, it's easier to decide, like, I want to be a high-end boutique, because you've seen a few things.
yeah.
But when you're young, what made you decide at that point
That I will get into
that you're
that
going
building?
to go into that building, and you are going to serve, you know, it's going to be a little more high-end, And when you could have just gone across, to the market. And not that it's bad being in the market,
Yeah.
but I'm just trying to understand your decision-making process.
To be honest, someone else has, it's a pity I can't talk about them. Someone would take credit for that because I had a push through a friend.
Okay.
And I never, like I said earlier, people see much more in you than you can actually see yourself. So the push obviously was because the person saw me in that way. So obviously when going to look around for places, it's the one place that they related that they think I would sort. So for me, I think it was just a matter of being there, working hard.
Yeah.
And then after a few months, learning the business.
Yeah.
Doing it from home and being in a space where your rent is due is very different, and where you can actually hire people and you have to pay your utilities, you have to pay their salaries, you have to pay so many oversights that you have no idea a salon comes with, as small as it seems. It's very different from just doing it for free and someone walks out and they'll buy you a present.
That's true. and speaking of, I think when we think of like, running a business, this is something that you and I talk about like all the time.
Yes.
Just those challenges that come with entrepreneurship, because you literally have to think about everything, and you stretch yourself in ways that you didn't even know.
Yeah.
So let's start with like some low points, right?
Okay.
20-year business. I'm sure you've had some highs and some lows.
Definitely.
I'm sure you've had some highs and some lows. And when you think about your lows, I can certainly, like, maybe this is not the day, but I can certainly think about the lowest point when I was running a business. And when you also go back in the journey, when are you able to share a time when you felt like, you had reached like rock bottom, like it was a major low in your business? And I find that these things work in twos, right? There's somehow it always couples with your life. It's rare that you have a low in your business and your life's going great. It's normally that both just like crash at the same time.
The lowest, I think it was, it's quite recent. I'd never been, and we're talking of business, we're not talking about me.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it coming. And there's no book, no preparation that could have prepared other than to go through it. And still recovering from it, which was the time of COVID and the dollar hit in 23. When you rely on, when your partners, that's on the closet side, you have to import, you have to the dollar exchange, that hit me. And I'm still recovering. I haven't been out of it. However, as to your other point, the service industry during COVID was great. And today when I sit back and why was it great? I mean, the dollar was so high, but how was I able to sustain it?
Yeah.
Then it hit me, it's because no one was traveling. So people were spending a lot of time with us.
Oh, I see. Oh, I
every
never thought of it that
day.
way.
I remember, Chipo, you are always at the salon. It was the busiest time during COVID.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I actually think I went to the salon a lot during COVID because
you also everybody did.
Because like
you're walking
somehow,
out, someone else is walking in, and
somehow we
stand
found
there for
small
hours
things
and
to
hours.
do.
Yes, you'd want to do everything because you really don't have much way to go. To do, you'll be working, and then you just spend 3-4 hours there, and then you do all kinds of services. By the time you're done, I mean, it works.
I mean, remote work, doing box braids while on a call. If my boss sees this, I'm just giving an example. I didn't do that. Okay, and so how did you navigate that though? Because like I know I was also working. I was working in an industry where of course, we're importing in USD and we're
Yes.
selling in kwacha, and that hit us pretty bad. So for a business like yours, where you also sell to like individuals, your products are a little bit on the high end side already. How did you come out of that? How did you even just manage or navigate that?
Two things. Good relationship with my partners that I've always been with for years. And then the fact that the two shops are tied one, I use the service business to help sustain this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
It's just that.
Okay.
Well, at the time, it wasn't so smart. It was just convenience, but then it made sense later.
Well, I think it's still smart. I think you were, like a lot of people during COVID, you were making do with what you had.
Yes.
And it's funny that, like, COVID stretched most of us. Like, it made us
all of us
think outside the box.
Yes.
It made us realize that there's more that you can do with what's already,
Yes.
Around you. So anyway, as much as I enjoy talking about the business and about entrepreneurship, we're also trying to talk about you today. And like, you've talked a lot about, realizing you like to serve people, like talking about doing people's hair and like styling people. But what makes you light up? Like, what's that thing that genuinely gives you joy?
Definitely a happy client.
A happy client?
A happy client, especially if the client is happy on a service that I produced or discovered myself. Like treatments, your treatments that you do.
Yeah.
Those are just from putting them together through my experience.
Okay.
And then I know what works for what.
Yeah.
So when a client is satisfied through that, that really lights me up.
Oh, nice. That's so. I guess that's
You didn't
not
even
so,
know.
No, it's not that obvious, but that's also not so. I'm glad you realized that, because that also is easier to attain. It's easier to find moments of joy in your day if you're able to also realize this is where your joy comes from.
Yes, true.
Okay, and when was the last time you did or discovered something that just gave you like goosebumps, where you were like, oh my God, this was, I know you get happy clients all the time, but what was the last?
No,
not all the time?
No, not at all, not all the time.
Okay.
No, not all the time. When was the last time
you just felt goosebumps out of like a discovery you made or something you did, and it just made you like, that was an experience.
Discovered, maybe experienced it. I recently did a lightening and toning class. I never had that knowledge before. Being in the hair industry didn't mean I knew everything. But I recently did a course in that. So I've been trying to build myself in that way, so to the clientele to grow and to experiment. But obviously my wigs have seen the worst of my experiments. So recently I did a lightening and tone, and when it came out, that, which was about maybe a week ago, I should have those moments more. Yeah, about a week ago, and I was like, I finally got it. This feels so great. Yeah.
That's nice. And I think those are the moments that, like, I'm reading this book called Deep Work now.
And you challenged me as well. You recently chopped off your hair. I haven't done short hair in a long time, and you just said, cut it.
You're welcome.
Shape it. I was like, no. So clients like you, great challenge, yeah. That was actually a wow moment as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
I just didn't show it because I didn't want you to lose
wonder, like,
confidence in me.
Does
Like,
she
does she know what she's doing? Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so like I said, I'm reading this book called Deep Work, and it was talking. There's a part of it that talked about like where like human beings feel most like joy and satisfaction, or like the high points of our day. Most of us assume that the high points of our day are when we are resting. Like, because you and me talk about this all the time, where we're like, can't wait to get home, kick off my shoes. You're probably grabbing a glass of tea. I'm drinking some wine and like watch some Netflix. Like, But so this book says no, actually, like the high point, they did some experiment where they were monitoring people's like, highs and lows of the day.
Yes.
The highest point of your day, normally the moment of the most joy, is when you actually stretch yourself. It's like when you work hard and then you accomplish.
Yes.
Like that is actually the moment that we feel like the most joy.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
And when you say that, that reminds me of that, because I was like, what? I think I'm happier in bed, but clearly like
in my world, I have intentionally called it a why. To find my everyday joy, I have to wake up with a why. Sometimes my why will be in a week, sometimes my why will be on that day. So I pick a why. Why am I doing this? Why do I do this? Why? What? To everything a why, then I find an answer, then I pick myself up and find my joy in even the smallest detail of the smallest that nothing to do with maybe what I do, but maybe I'll easily find a why. I'll get there to the shop and go through the clothes. Why am I going through them? I'm looking to see if somebody left a stain. Then I'll find it and clean it and prepare myself. So it's just,
that's something I'm trying to build now, because I've been trying to, I think your why, I'm trying to be like, it's the same thing, except I'm calling it intention. Like my intention for the day. I've found that I have better days, the days that I set an intention.
Yes.
And the intention is not even something like crazy, like you said. Sometimes the intention is just like, today I want to make someone smile, or today I just want to make sure this, or I want to ensure that I am present, or like small types of intentions. When I do that at the beginning of the day, I have like a really good day.
Yes, absolutely.
Living intentionally. And when I have those mornings where like I jump out of bed, I don't know what's going on, I just like go.
So what do you do to remind yourself?
To be honest, when I don't start out with an intention, there's no reminding of self until it's too late, until I'm like not feeling so great about myself at the end of the day, and I'm just like sluggish. And then I remember that, it's because I didn't do that. Then the next day I try. But like I said, it's a habit I'm trying to build. Yeah. So when you're setting your why, is it something you do like in form of like meditation? Is it something you do like in form of prayer? Like how? Like what's that?
Absolutely, it starts from meditation, from my prayer. I am very strong on alignment. I'm very strong on alignment in the sense that even my why needs to make sense, and it should be aligned in whatever I'm gonna be in. It should come from that. Because why can be anything, and then what? If it's not in alignment of your dreams, of your work, and of your purpose.
Yeah, I love that. And I was going to ask you a question around spirituality and just see like how much that has played a role. It can't be easy to lose your mom at 16 and then have to like figure out a way out of survival and necessity, and start to mother your siblings really young. Like how through this journey and where you are today, where like it looks like you have some things figured out in terms of like knowing how to manage yourself.
Okay.
How much has spirituality played a role in your journey?
I think it all begins, excuse me, with believing. Obviously, I'm a Christian, so a few guidelines kept me in check.
Yeah.
If not for that, I wouldn't think. So I am big on being spiritual a lot. I believe in the 10 Commandments, though maybe I only manage a few by the day.
Yeah,
thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not be an adulterer.
Some are always
some I have failed, some those are the values that were instilled in me as a child. So, and my parents were both very Christian, so
Okay. And how does that practice look like for you today? And I'm asking this because I'm Christian as well. but I also I'm a bit of something that people call a chakra han these days. I like believe in like energy. I believe in like, you know, I
But all
sage
that
my
comes
house.
to faith, yes.
Yes, I'm very like I meditate and
Yes.
and not every, like I know there are some things that you'd call Eastern medicine that I've also like taken as some habits or introduced in my spiritual life that I find really work for me. So what and I think you mentioned meditation as well.
Yes.
And earlier we were talking about you know, and your, you know, like your physical exercises and you know, like thinking about Pilates and things like that. Like how much of, when you think about yourself as a Christian, how much has your worldview of spirituality changed and, you know, become a bit more open-minded to spiritual practices that are borrowed from quote unquote other religions? Yeah.
In my world, how would I define that in short?
Yeah, in short, yeah.
Digging deep into your soul so much that you hear yourself, your body and your soul connect, and it brings out a certain vibration that when you actually do pray, it will fall into alignment. How did I get there? I think through waking out and not having anyone. Talking to yourself. Yeah. I hope it answered you.
I get it. I get it. Like, no, the funny thing is I absolutely get that. I get that alignment. I've had those moments, maybe not through working out, but through like silence and breathing.
Yes.
I've definitely had those moments where it just feels surreal, where you're just like this,
like, oops,
whoa,
okay,
yeah.
Did that
Yes,
to get there?
yes.
You need to be centered and balanced, and you can't teach it to someone.
Yeah,
they probably should have already been on that journey.
Yeah, they need a spiritual practice of some kind.
Yes.
Speaking of, like, this is just, you know, a lot of this is based on our own opinions.
Yeah.
You know, we're probably not experts in certain things.
We could even be wrong.
Who knows? But what's your belief around like a spiritual practice being essential to success or to finding that thing? Do you think like that lack of like awareness or that lack of connecting to a higher power, like how big a role do you think that plays in someone's success, whether in business, whether in their career, whether in relationships?
I think it plays a very big role because it's all about energy. Whether you like it or not, it's all about energy. So when you've got a certain vibration of energy, it's exactly what the universe, I feel, brings you back, and it will move you according to course. I'm not saying I have it easy. I just know that principle that works for me.
Yeah.
The moment that I've been intentional in working on something and reaching it, and I put it into my soul to pray about it, to create that energy, when I actually do talk to myself, it tells me where I need to work on. If it's more smiling, if it's
you need to smile more, Pam.
Yes, I know. I know. Smiling, to engaging with clients, the universe will tell you. Someone will comment and be like, if you actually listen, that you actually asked for help, so you will get someone to tell you, oh, you should do that.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody can throw around something, but it's your soul will capture exactly what you need to improve on. So it does have a lot of impact, I think, on.
You know, so apart from like the intention thing, that's something else I'm trying to do quite consistently, is to ask for help. To say, okay,
yes.
like, today I ask to be shown, like I'll pray, you know, to God, say, okay, if there's anyone who needs my help, if there's anyone whose help I need, like, please, may I not miss it. And when I pray that prayer, I don't miss it. No. So I don't even know why, like, why we stop or why we don't do that consistently. Because when we ask for help, it comes.
Yes.
Right? Because even with this podcast, like, it's been something I've been dreaming about for so long, and I kept putting it off because it was just like never the right time.
Yeah.
It was just never the right time. Until this like late last year, I was like, no, this never the right time. The time will never come. And when, like you said, I started to pray about it, I kind of got into that like frequency of it.
Yes.
I started to see things around me.
The pattern started creating
and even
towards
like
the dream.
there was a time I came to do my hair, and I walked in and I saw you. I was like, there's my first guest. And I didn't tell you for weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't tell you for weeks until I kind of like, but I knew you were going to be my first guest.
Aww.
But that was because I was intentional. I had prayed about it. And the minute I walked in, like that voice in my head was like, oh, there's your first guest. I was like, yeah. And after that, I started to look around and notice I had so many resources.
Yes,
I had friends.
Yes, absolutely.
I had like, everybody in this room came through like
team, yes,
a connection and a complete team. And it's only when I genuinely set the intention and asked for help. So I personally believe like that some kind of spirituality, whether you're Christian,
it
Hindi,
does help.
Muslim, whatever you are, when you have like that prayer part of you where you pay attention to, what God is saying, like it kind of starts to just fall in place and to align.
Yeah.
So I like, it's the beginning of the year, so I keep talking about my intentions and my habits. Forgive me.
And we all in
but
like,
that. But one of the things I'm trying to do is be consistent with movement, right?
Okay.
I'm a dabbler. Like I'll start working out and then I'll stop. I'll start walking and then I'll stop. I always try something new.
Okay.
Start yoga, then I stop, And of late, I've been doing these home workouts. I've been so consistent in the last like 6 months.
Yes.
What, I had the summer body. What messed it up was December. December.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. December, I ate so much like you do in December, and now I feel like I'm catching up once again.
I really feel that does that even work anymore to use December as an excuse?
It does, because it's real.
I know, but this is your intentions. Sorry to cut you short.
No
We're
problem.
supposed to be in November.
Yes.
Because December will always December.
December will always. You listen. That's like a quote. Like we should put that back here.
December will always December.
Will always December. And I should have.
It's the end of the year. It's tough. Getting to the end of the year is actually
You're hungry.
So you're more vulnerable. That's the moment
you're
you should actually exactly. You want to relax. It's been a long year.
Yeah. So I'm catching up, but I think I've never been more consistent than I've been like in the last like 6 months. And right now I do 2 hours a week. Okay. So whether I do 45 minutes on one day and then 15 minutes on one day and then 10 or 5, like whatever, I've just committed to 2 hours a week. Now, like I knew you were, you worked out and whatever until like I said, follow you on Instagram. I was like, sis is working out. Like she is, and I just love even like the aesthetic of it, the background. You've got like the plants and then, you just look so zen. You don't look like you're breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
You don't look like you're breaking a sweat.
That's when I'm done. Now I'm doing the videos just to show off.
Oh, you're just showing off.
Oh, the hard part is done. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. See, this is why they say that we don't see the hard things on Instagram. Huh?
Actually not.
We just see the nice things.
Exactly.
Okay.
By the time I'm doing, Maggie, boloni kope manja, I call the nanny. We meet it up. Oh, yes, Pamela. No, nekabwa. Okay, you know what I mean? That's done. When I'm actually into it, there's no time.
It's not pretty. Like, working out is not as pretty as it looks.
It's so rewarding in this. It's for self-confidence.
Yeah.
And I always feel it's one of the most powerful tools every woman should have. It's that self-confidence it rewards you with. It's for you. It's not for anyone else. I mean, you look good when you...
Yeah, that's the nice plus.
But the physical part of it, but it's the rewarding part of it. And then it's a trick I learned through my cousin. Introduced me to the lifestyle. That's years ago because she was a model. She used to live in South Africa. So every time she would come into the country, she would come back with all these habits of working out, eating clean, and because I've always respected and admired her, so I would follow every footstep of what she was like in that sense. So I picked up that habit, not even understanding, I really didn't know much. It was just something that I thought, okay, she's successful.
If successful people do this,
yes.
and if I try,
yes,
who knows, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she's always at this life where everything is orderly, and I would admire her. So I would copy everything that she did, and working out came one
with
of
that.
them. Yes.
Yeah. I think the reason I work out as well has solely been because everyone I admire works out.
Yes, and they all do.
I'm
you look at the strong woman they're talking about,
yes.
or the successful man. They
Yeah,
wake up.
they wake up.
Yeah, in the morning. They've got a certain schedule. They are at a business. This time, I'm like, wow.
And I'm like,
let me just pick out
these
the
millions are
out.
not going to make themselves. So let me try. Yeah, I think like you've said, everyone. I mean, I'm a huge fan of like Michelle Obama, and like she has those arms, and she's like she does boxing and like and I'm just like, okay, so one day is one day. One day
I think it's a happy pill.
Yeah, for sure. Because even when I work out, like it does more good than it does harm. Yes. Like the one thing I know is that it will always do more good than it does harm. I just need to get
How do you feel when you're done with the workout?
Oh, I feel so good.
Yeah.
And even that pain that we complain about, oh, today was leg day. Oh, it hurts so much. It's like deep down, you're like happy that it hurts so much.
Yeah, that's good pain.
Speaking of, like we were talking about, like we've been talking about like success, and then you have this cousin that you admire. I always think all of us have like these people in different shapes and forms who we look up to, and they don't even know we're following what they are doing. Like secret mentors. You haven't even told them this. I'm doing this. The reason I am today is because of you. We all have that person, right? Yeah. But I also want to talk about like, we're talking about self-confidence and self-worth as well. If I look at a business like yours, you are like in Lusaka's busiest mall now. One of our nicest, if it's not the nicest mall. I'm always at East Park.
Currently.
So you are in like a really nice mall. I love like, we should get some like shots of the salon to just like show during the podcast so people can see what I'm talking about.
Thank you,
like it's you've built that. You can see the intentionality in like how the decor, there's like you can see the high fashion, you can see there's the plants, like it just looks so good, but also like all that doesn't come like cheap, if you know what I mean. So like you can see the investment you've put in, and even like what your services might cost. From your service and even to your clothes and things like that. They're more on high end. So if you're going to walk into beauty gardens, you're going to get quality, but with quality it means you're also going to spend a bit of money.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, in a market that's like so price sensitive, like Zambia, where people will complain about the price of anything, and like, no, but I bought it cheaper this side, or but I went, like, how have you just like stuck to your like value and standards? I think, and I'm asking this for myself and for a lot of women out there, how have you just like stayed unapologetic about, what, this is how much this is? And I've seen you do it. I've witnessed, like I pay attention, like someone might come and say, no, but this is a little too much, and like you're unwavering. You're like, yeah, but like it's how much it is. Like, how have you stuck to that ability to say, this is the value, this is how much my time is worth, this is how much our services are worth, and it is what it is? Like, how have you stuck to that?
Okay, salon or the whole?
Both, just like generally, because remember you're selling.
Yes, I sell both.
You're selling both,
I think I stopped explaining myself when I found myself. For so many years, I explained myself for so many years. But through clients, I found myself in a position where I can actually say it is this, and this is how much it is. I don't mind explaining why, but the clients that have been supportive.
Hello.
will tell you, will tell you what they love and what they would like you to maintain without ever telling you. So you stick to that, and then working on prepping for you before you come is my job, making sure that everything is in place.
Yeah.
So shooting at a certain market, Zambia is price sensitive, but not so much. It's just got seasons. The only thing that throw off a lot of people, from my experience, because it has happened to me, is when they want to do trends and not understanding who they want to serve. I have been a victim of that. Obviously, been in business for so long, I have had situations where if it's a trend, I want to fall in as well. If it's a trend I want to fall in, especially in the clothing business, I don't do trends. I don't sell trends. In order for someone to reach a point where they will buy something from me, I pray and I do know they understand what they are selling. But it's not all the times I get a client who understand what I'm selling. Some people, it will be their first time, and then they will understand. So some situations will self-explain, and then there will be some situations where it's just so happens someone just wants to spend on that day, but it doesn't mean their daily market.
Yeah.
So they could be spoiling themselves. But my job is the actual time they actually walk in and I've had an opportunity to serve them, I want to serve them to leave a mark on their life. And if they're gonna spend so much money, they're gonna remember me for the rest of their life.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Whether they could afford then, whether it was a by the way, that mark for me is my number one, especially in the clothing industry. You might not relate to it every day, but you will need it. You do need it without you realizing you need it.
You know, you've just, like, what you said is so important. Like, you know, when you were talking about, like, when we're talking about the goosebumps and things like that, I feel like I just had one of those moments where I'm like, this is why I started this podcast. Because you talked about, you stopped explaining yourself when you found yourself.
Yes.
And that is just like it, right? Because, and this I'm going to make particular for women. And FYI, like, let me talk into the camera, I am like super feminist. Like, yeah, I'm one of those people that's always going to support women loudly. Yeah. So I've found that with women, and you know, I haven't given too much of my background, but one of the things that I've done is, like, I've been in recruitment and in HR for, you know, over 12 years. And I've also done executive recruitment. I know I'm recruiting all the time. I'm talking to people. I do career managing. I just do so much. That gives me so much exposure around what people do, what they're good at, and their value that they get out of that. And when I say value, I mean salaries. And even when it's not in my control, you know, I have found that women negotiate for themselves less. You know, there's so many studies that will tell you that, but it's true. One job, there's a man and a woman. The man will say his price to be like, whoa, and the woman will say her price, and inside I'm like, you know, like, girl, you can. But I found that, like, the women that I've come across who have inspired me as well, and you know, I'm one of those people that's not, like, you know, shy to make friends or to pursue a woman. Like, when I see a woman I admire and I think she can teach me something, she will be my friend. Like, I don't have the shame or the shy. That thing that people are like, we don't make friends when we're older. No. I will make friends today, you know? And I've seen women come in with figures, you know. She says, what's your monthly, like, expectation or your annual salary expectation? And when she says a figure, even the men are just like, yeah, you know. But those are the women, and they stick to that figure, and they even turn down a job because of that figure, because she knows her worth and what she's bringing to it. Oh gosh, those are my favorite kind of women. But at which point does
a woman know her worth?
It's a journey, but it's a journey for different people. But, like, it's a journey that comes out of people seeing other women and conversations
yes,
like this.
yes,
Because even for me, it's been other women. It's literally been
course,
like the example, like when I come across a woman
Yeah.
and I'm like, she did what?
Yeah.
And she looks like me.
This just reminds me the other day when you sent me the. I was like, Chipochedu, this is too professional.
Yeah, you were
for
like,
me.
this is too professional for me. And I was like, well.
Then I was like, oh, I'm dealing with a professional woman now. I was like, this is so admirable. This is okay. This is these details.
Yeah,
This is showing some background of the experience, and I should learn.
Yeah,
this is what I want to learn from you.
But that's because I had so many women, like my first jobs.
Yeah,
I started
really
working very young.
Me.
Yeah, of course, anytime. I started working very young, but even then I had like amazing female bosses who like taught me everything,
yes,
you know.
That's
even so that's
another level of professionalism.
Yeah, I go a bit like, you know, I'm trying, because now I'm exploring. I think deep down I've always been more of a creative, but I do both. You know, I can switch both hats. I can be like super like professional and like, you know, and then when I switch the hat, when I switch the hat, I can be like very fun and very playful.
Yes.
And like
I
think
just
that's
saw
one
that
of my
side of
superpowers.
you. I just saw went through that with you, and it was nice to see. I mean, I know how serious you get because I save you most of the time when you're really busy and you're in meetings, even during COVID times.
If my boss is watching this,
it's
I wasn't in meetings either.
or whatever you are doing. So that side of you I have always admired. I'm like, okay, she's so poised and so organized. I wonder what is she writing? Like you are when you're serious, when you're working.
What am I writing? When I'm writing, I don't know, probably like an email. Probably like,
but I'm always
telling
curious,
someone
like, how
does
her emails look like? Because she's very well spoken and her English is like,
you know, my emails look the way they look because of one of my bosses. I think I'm going to shout her out actually because like she was instrumental. So her name is Mwenzi Mulenga. She's the current CEO of Bayport.
Oh,
and there's a time she was my boss and she mentored me for a bit.
You had a great one.
Yeah, and her lesson stayed, and she was like, when it came to grammar, she was like, you know, they call them grammar Nazis now.
Yes.
And like those lessons just stayed.
Wow.
You know,
it shows.
And
it really shows.
and this is why, like, even now I call her boss. Like, she's like, I still say, hi boss, hey boss. Because she was one of like the many women and the many men in my life who just like took the time to teach me stuff. So
no, it really shows.
Yeah, because she was definitely like professional. And I was like, how is she working? How is she dressing? How is she, you know? I made my mom buy me suits after I saw her suits. I was like, Mom, and you know, she's a lawyer. Her background is a lawyer, and lawyers wear suits. Yeah. And I was like, Mom, I need suits. And I went where the lawyers used to go and buy suits. And I was swimming in those suits, but it's a story for another day. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I've lost my train of thought because
we're talking about how professional you are.
We're talking about how professional I was, but before that.
And the women.
Anyway, I've just now lost it. We just went down there, which was fun. It's okay. Let's circle back. No, we're talking about value. Yes, and women and those women that like
see value in other women.
Yes, and they set their own value and like how they get there. And I think it's through conversations like this, and I think we need to have them more. And I think we need to...
I know great women.
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by great women all the time. And I think, to add on before we get lost...
Yes.
I asked you, how does a woman get there? How does she find the balance or understand who she is? I think you need to intentionally also surround yourself by the right people.
Oh gosh, that's so true.
I think when you actually do that, you get to that point quicker and you become balanced.
You don't even notice you're doing it, huh?
No,
you don't even notice you're mimicking and you're copying, because sometimes it just comes out. One day you say something like, oh my gosh, I sound just like this person.
If I was to tell somebody younger, how do you get there? I'm still getting there because every day.
Yeah, all of us are still on the journey.
It's a journey, it never ends. But how do you actually get into that direction? Get people who are older than you, like you just explained, and they should be your inspiration. You should mimic their life, and they should teach you. You should get a mentor.
Ask them questions.
Yes. I recently had someone ask me, Pam, would you be my mentor? I said, hey, in what? For me, like, what am I mentoring you? And not because you are this. I said, I am? Okay. Then now I've gotten interested in, how do I mentor someone? And then through that, I'm discovering myself, like, what do I need to work on? How do I put a message across who I'm mentoring?
And you know, like, I've been mentoring now. I've been mentoring without knowing I'm mentoring, but now I'm actively mentoring. Oh,
I ask you questions
all the time.
And I ask you about, how do I hire someone? How do I do it? How is the professional way of doing it?
How do I do this? You know, I've been mentoring as well. And like, the one thing that I think mentorship has taught me is, like, when I'm saying something to someone and I'm like, did I just say that? I know that? Yes. Oh my God. Oh, I sound so wise.
Yes.
I know stuff. But aside from that, it's like, it's the same. I think it's paying it forward because, like, I was mentored.
Of course.
And now I was doing it not knowing, but now I'm trying to pay it forward.
Yes.
And I think that, like, what I think is the difference, because, like, I now get a lot of women asking me, and men actually, asking me, like, oh, but how are you so confident? How are you like this? How are you brave enough to do this? You're so brave, this. And I keep thinking to myself, like, what made me brave? Like, what made me able?
Yes, please.
And the reason is just the fact that I decided to trust myself.
At which point did you start trusting yourself then?
So I started.
You seem you've been trusting yourself
a long time.
A lot of us.
I started.
Because if you're gonna be embodying and telling the story of
I started trusting
movies,
myself small. I was young. I think the real trust came when. Let me see, which job was it? There was job one. So my first job was I was 17. I was still young to be working, but I was working in a bank. But even then,
at 17, who trust themselves in a bank?
And I was busy. But my love for work and my love for I just loved working and I loved learning, and I think I kept being given chances, and I just never stopped working. So even after the bank, I was like, no job was big enough for me. Like, if it's I've worked in an internet cafe, I just always did something because I was eager to learn. And I think when you're eager to learn, you start to build confidence in your skills, right?
Yes.
So which is why, like, when I think about gifts and talents, so gifts are the things that are just bestowed upon you, right? Yes. Like, that's something God gives you. God gives you this, and whether this is something you can do with your eyes closed, whether you like it or not, it's just inherent, right?
Yes.
But with that gift is surrounded by talents. So, like, for example, I think my gift is my ability to connect people, to connect with people. But when I look at a person, I think when I look at a human being, I see them for what they can be. I see them further than they are, which is why I think I ended up in HR, because I never looked at people and saw what they couldn't do there and then. And look at maybe even just their failures or their mistakes. I could see them beyond that. Right? And that then allowed me to have other talents outside that, because to be able to connect with people, you need to be like a good communicator. To be able to connect with people, you need to, like, you know, be confident enough to, like, walk up to someone and have a conversation, to connect with masses. Like, so I think these talents around the gift are things that I had to build over time. Right? And a lot of us are everyone is gifted. Right? And then there are talents that come with those gifts around you. But the thing that I think a lot of us don't get the chance to do is either the courage or the opportunity to build the talents. Right? So you were gifted. You could see yourself, you could do the hair, you could do the styling when you were young. But what you could have gone a very different route and never
Yeah.
had the chance. You could have still built your talents
Yeah.
in different ways, because I still think the talents are also there.
Yes.
But when now you find yourself in a position where you're actively working on your talent, because a talent has to be developed. It
Of
can't,
course,
the gift
yes.
can be there,
Yes,
but the
yeah.
talents around the gift, to manage the gift, to elevate the gift, have to be worked on. Which is
Yes.
why hard work, whether you like it
No
or
matter
not,
what. Hard work
will
it
always be.
It has to be.
It always
part
has to
of
be
the,
there. Work
yeah,
always has to be
percentage
there,
of-
right?
Yeah.
So then when you get the opportunity to start building those talents, is your gift gets elevated. Your gift keeps getting elevated. And I think for me, for lack of a better term, in my Mungulu, I kept going and doing these things where I didn't realize that now my gift was getting elevated by all these things I was building.
Yes.
My love for work, my love for people, I always had the attitude of like, but if not me, then who? If not me, then who? Just putting myself on.
That mentality is,
When
we need
always
to,
volunteering. Like if there's something, I would volunteer. If there's this. And one day, like, I find myself, then you look back and you're like, oh, it's been incremental over time.
Yes.
And now it's paying off. It's paying off in terms of position. It's paying off in terms of like money and opportunities.
Yes, opportunity and money.
But I think that's something that's available for everyone. I don't think anyone is exactly unique. I think it's available.
It's available for everyone.
Yes.
And yes, I do agree. Everyone is actually born with it. The only thing that in my line of work, I don't, in your professional world, everybody comes qualified. Has been
Do they?
the background. No. Yeah.
Well,
At least
okay.
you've got you're dealing with someone, obviously grade 12 has had to study this.
Yeah.
So
okay,
they're
right.
coming
You're
with a
right. I see
different-
what you mean.
In my line, I see people the way you've actually said it. I see people more than where they think or the world sees this where they reach. But my only place where I fail is our industry is looked down so much, and most of the people that are into this business are sadly, and there's no better way of me saying it, they're illiterate.
Yeah.
So
it's
a big challenge, and has been a big challenge for me to teach someone who doesn't understand what word scalp that it's forever. You have to train someone. You really have to train someone from understanding the terms, and it's difficult to move forward when you actually work with illiterate people, because it's either you might need to go low, very low, to get to their standard, or you can say this is what you should learn, and this is where I am. It's either you pick up from that, or we can't work together. My struggles of that connection. I see someone can have the potential, they have the skill, but they don't have the, you can't water it. Unfortunately,
No,
that's
I think
where it
I
ends.
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And do you think part of that is because, like, if you look at the beauty industry in Zambia, most of it is like self-taught?
Yes.
Yeah, like
self-taught can only get
because certain
to
places have
certain,
like the schools and like certifications.
South Africa has.
I know you can't even do certain
Even
things.
Zimbabwe, Botswana,
you can't do certain things if you don't have
because
your
Ministry
license.
of thingy has to come in. You have to have the correct license for trading, for keeping the place clean 24/7. If you're gonna work with people in and out, you're gonna have to be clean. You're gonna have to make sure that every utensil that is used is sanitized. Everything. You have to wear gloves. You can't just. But in Zambia, unfortunately, it's one business that is saturated and the government has never really looked into. I know there are schools around, but I can't do.
It hasn't been
Zambia.
It hasn't been regularized there's like regulation around like the beauty industry.
So it's very difficult to grow. For myself, I had to take myself to school. I had the experience. Obviously from North Mid growing up, I know how to do hair. oh, amatita sisi. But it came to a point like now there are so many. What makes you different from the other person?
Yeah.
Then it hit me, the knowledge and to be certified has got power in it. At that point, I said, I moved to the mall. I'm moving to the mall. First, my experience was okay with it. I didn't know who to hire that comes with the mall. The mall comes with its own standards of people.
Yeah.
So getting back to why we're talking about this, how everybody has got skill and talent. Now, how to get the right people in action. You need to be well-spoken. If you're going to charge someone that price, you really need to be well-spoken. You should be able to explain what Beauty Gardens is selling. And if somebody has got a certain capacity of illiteracy, you can't inject in them.
It's hard.
It's very hard because they won't understand the terms and or what needs to go, what needs to be done. So you find that you're just there. So you've got someone who is, I can see they're so skilled. They're just lacking to understand what they are doing. And to dedicate themselves in a different direction or change their mindset about how they do things. But unfortunately, it's a trade. It's a very unfortunate trade and skill in Zambia that it usually ends, a lot of people don't really go anywhere with it. It's a sad story.
It is. Do you think it's like, do you think it's kind of like starting to evolve? Because now, or maybe just your thoughts on like the beauty industry now, there's a lot of people that have come up, whether they are doing like makeup or whether they are doing like wigs, and like you can see people making big careers and businesses and actually making like money out of like, you know, and it's a bit, I see them on Instagram, so I'll call them a bit like Insta hair and like, so
in Zambia, everyone is a makeup artist and everyone is a hairstylist.
This is true. This is true. But do you think that's leading to like, because people are making money out of it, do you think that will kind of like lead to legitimizing or to like
maybe
control?
One day, I hope so. I hope so. That would be a dream for me. I would love to see it get to that. That you cannot be, if you have to go to college for it, you must have some grade 9 background. You just don't have to know the trade because you were the only person who would do the kids' hair, and from there you think you're professional. Because if it's gonna be a business, it's much more than that. It's really much more than that. It requires a lot of knowledge and
accountability as well, because
a lot of accountability.
There's all sorts of stories about hair and chemicals and
then the market is like also flooded with too many things. You need to know with what you're working with. The market is quite flooded with imitations. So you need to know your trade very well, if and you need to have known the steps. Like even something as simple as processing hair. I cannot accept you processing your hair twice, 3 times within 6 weeks.
I remember you once telling me like, we're not processing your hair anymore. Because I kept coming back. You were like, it's done, we're done. Because
even for treatments, you can only do treatments for so much. Otherwise, then it starts working against you. So you have to have the right knowledge, and you have to have the knowledge, then the experience. But in my case, it's been a little bit in reverse. But just like you, I'm always eager. Like I have been in my passion so much that sometimes like, Wezi, why you know Wezi?
I know Wezi.
Not Wezi.
I can't see a hair. I can't
like
see a
we
hair.
can't discuss any more solutions to, but it comes with you can only get better by learning and getting the knowledge.
I get there sometimes where I'm like, today I do not want to hear, I do not want to interview someone, I do not want to ask, tell me about yourself, I am done. And then the next day I'm like, oh, exactly. Tell me about yourself. Okay. Oh my gosh, Pam, I could chat with you like all day. You know how it
This
is.
feels good.
Yeah, I know. But I think one of the questions I want to ask as we wrap up is like, you know, what are you yet to achieve? What are you still excited about achieving, or what's your dream for, you know, Beauty Gardens and Le Closet? Like what more is there for you to do?
Should I spill it out?
Yeah, if you want, if you can share, if it's still like kind of like on the wraps and you're going to like surprise us and we're going to be excited, that's fine. Or you could just like conceptualize it.
It comes back to the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm a natural teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I have the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping I will. Well, I'm hoping. I was thinking of doing it myself,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there's nothing wrong, like you said, with asking for help.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I really want to do a school.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
If I'm going to, my retirement looks more like that.
That's amazing.
I
'Cause
do-
I love that that's a solution to one of your frustrations, like a
Yes.
problem that you've had. Like the solution to
And
it is
that's
like
all
to do
I've
it
done
yourself.
all my life.
Oh man, I love that so much.
So yeah, I hope I'm working towards that, and I would love to get the right investors.
Yeah.
I'm pointing at you.
I'm like, I heard something. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I would like to.
Yeah.
Yes, because I think there's a big market. I paid a lot of money to go to South Africa.
For school.
Yes, and I think I have a lot to give. The only things that I need it to be managed by someone professional.
Yeah. You know
missing
what?
that.
The one thing that all my friends, and you know, you're my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
All my friends regret telling me is their dreams. I become.
That person that reminds me of my dream.
Every time I'm like, so where's the school? Like me.
Yes,
Woo!
yes. But
people tire of my encouragement.
I probably
remind,
need it.
Yeah, I'm on you.
The
like,
one formula
we're gonna figure it out.
still, yes, only one formula that I'm still trying to get a hang of is that I want the mindset of I'm waiting for the day. I will not wait for long. I will begin my journey because everybody has got their own. I want my fellow Zambians, women, to not look at me as a competition, but to look at each other as an opportunity.
Yeah, which we are.
Yes,
Yeah.
of each other. And for so many years, everybody who opens a salon or opens something looks at you as a competition. I am not anyone's competition. If we can even create something together, because people are different. Maybe what you're selling is always different from what I'm selling. The mindset of thinking that way, the day it ends, I know I have heard of an amazing hairdresser who is stuck in Kawata. And I would love to position them in life to teach that class of how they're passionate and how they do that.
This is how you move out of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to be that person because I know so many who
because
are
you've
skilled.
done it as well. Like because you've had a business for 20 years
Yes.
and you've probably seen more things than we could have discussed in this
A lot of people
episode.
are skilled.
You know,
a lot of people are skilled but stuck.
Yeah.
Stuck with because of lack of
Yeah.
accountability and lack of being responsible.
Yeah.
And not dreaming big
Not
enough.
dreaming big enough, or not seeing that like there's people like you out there who, you know, who made it or got out of a situation, you know. So like
Nobody ever makes it actually. We're still here trying.
We're still trying to make it.
Yes.
Actually, that's very true. Man, this has been like an amazing like conversation. I always try. I think this is the interviewer in me. At the end of every interview, I'm always like, "Do you have any questions for us?" So I'm gonna throw it back to you. So maybe like one or two, depending on time. Do you have any questions for me?
Definitely.
Oh wow! Now that's scary. Gosh, the way you say
I
that.
think I did. I've asked you some of the questions though.
Yeah.
At what point? Would you with all this success and all this knowledge and all the connections?
Gosh, success. Yes, like you said, I still feel like I'm hustling.
You see?
Yeah, I still feel like even today I'm hustling, just trying to make it.
Because success is actually a will.
Yeah.
And nobody
yeah.
ever gets to
No.
that. Would you say, this might sound a little bit off, more on the
okay.
personal side, but
Yeah.
again, we're women.
Yeah.
Do you intimidate men?
Gosh, yes.
Okay.
So it's funny that like I was a bit tomboyish growing up, right? So I never used to notice, and I think because of like my nature of like being tomboyish and being able to like relate with everyone, most guys were my friends. Like we were all
Okay,
just
yeah.
buddies and whatever. And then kind of like you start growing up, you start
Okay.
becoming a woman, and then you kind of start to notice that, you know, you can, like, I don't know, and it wouldn't be the obvious way where someone says yeah, people have told me to my face actually that you intimidate me, but like it started to be subtle,
Okay.
you know, where it's like it would come out like, oh, you're too much, or you're trying to outsmart me, or you're trying to
then
like,
you're just being yourself.
but I'm like, outsmart?
Yeah.
I am smart. there's no outsmarting when you're
Yeah.
smart. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get that. So yeah, I got to realize that, and after that, I started getting told to my face like,
Okay.
oh, you're intimidating.
Okay.
But the one thing that I've always known is that I won't not be. I'm like, I'm intimidating.
Yeah.
I'm intimidating.
Yeah, yeah.
But I always knew that I think I was too far gone.
Yeah.
Maybe when I was younger, I would have made myself smaller,
Yes,
maybe.
yes,
But at
yes.
the point where I started to realize that men would be intimidated by me,
Yeah.
I was too far gone
Okay.
to start to make myself small. And does it mean like you kind of like, it was kind of hard to settle into a relationship? Yeah, it meant that. But
Okay.
like, I think now, like, you know, I'm in a good place. Like, I think...
You attracted a line with the right person?
I think so. I think so. I think there are moments where like we definitely have our moments that are just like where he kind of side eyes me.
Yeah.
But it's not in a way that's like makes me feel bad or makes me feel like I should be smaller, which is why one of the reasons that I think we work is because it's not like there's no point. There's
Okay.
at no point in the relationship, even when he gives me feedback, because sometimes I can be like a bit of like a I can be stubborn about certain things, but it's feedback about, oh, you know, you're stubborn about this. It's not like, oh, no, you're too much, or you're too this, or you're trying to be too smart.
Do you think being financially independent as a woman can injure your relationships?
I've heard it does. I don't think it has injured mine per se in like all my relationships, mostly because, and I know this is gonna sound really corny, but money is not up there for me in a relationship.
Okay.
Like, it's not one of those couple of boxes I tick. So for me, I've always been attracted to like kindness, like
yes,
a sense of humor, like that, you know, that kind of, like you said, a bit of spiritual alignment, and like, so money is there because money brings opportunities, but it comes a little down there.
Okay.
So because of that, I don't think I've been alive to money being an issue in a relationship.
All right.
But I know it is because I have lots of conversations with women who struggle with the fact that their financial independence can be too much, who hide money, who hide how much they really make, you know, who declare a lower amount at home. And I think all that is out of like the fear or maybe the truth of the fact that it might injure their relationships.
Yes.
And I really empathize because like, I don't know why that, won't we be more happy if there's more money in the house? Isn't that or in the relationship, more money to do stuff, you know?
It depends how it's distributed. Or what it's meant for.
Because money is a tool. Money is
it's supposed to make your life
easier.
Yes.
So where it comes from, whether it comes from the woman, whether it comes from the man, and in these days where you're, you know,
I am just one of those. I would rather he.
Yeah. No, I think I definitely
on,
get that. But my point is that I think we add too much.
Yes, on it.
Where at some point, like if you are going to become deceptive or you're going to start lying about things and not declaring resources. But this, you know, this is obviously my opinion. Like if it's gonna make you a liar, is that like because you are, like, at the end of the day,
Some people lie. It's got nothing to do with money.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But if
It's just a habit.
it's just habit to lie. So maybe
Yeah.
that's another topic.
Yeah.
But like, I do think that money shouldn't be the reason that people are so, like, you know, unhappy together.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, because it's a tool.
I have one last question.
Sure.
Because this year I declared it as the yes. Okay, starting from last year, the yes season.
Yeah. Yes.
The yes season,
Yes season.
for me is a yes in everything, but obviously not silly things. I mean, I'm grown up to and find myself in stupid things without thinking. And
In
the yes
Mungulu.
season is for
Yeah.
is for the level of a balanced woman. Now, in this yes season, I have also decided to seek for help, and I've also learned to ask than assuming.
That they know that they should help you.
Or know that I don't want to look at Bill and think, is Bill married? Or no, maybe he's single. Or maybe I can actually
is Bill
ask
married?
Bill. You see?
Okay. Bill is single.
Yeah, so I'm in this space where I have decided to relearn everything by simply asking. So now I'm going to ask you,
Yeah.
what do you do? What do you do?
What do I do? Like,
I think
as
I've
a-
got an
as a
idea
person?
of what you do, yes,
Okay.
professionally. But I've
Yeah.
never really asked you exactly what do you do.
Oh, that's a good question. So, like, never assume. So what do? I do, so my day job, like the thing that's keeping me busy right now is I'm a talent director, which is like an HR director. So for like a global talent director for an energy company.
Oh, wow. See?
Yeah.
I
See?
didn't-
Yeah. Pretty cool gig.
Yeah,
So I look
wow.
after the HR function for our for up to like 8-9 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And so that's one.
Okay.
And then secondly, I also have always had a recruitment firm called Talent House. Shameless plug. A recruitment firm called Talent House, which I have been running since 2014.
Wow.
So yeah, so I guess right now I'm not actively, I serve as an advisor, but I've got a team there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that
So when you say recruit,
so we find talent on behalf of people, organizations. So they
Okay.
come to us and they say, Chipo, we're looking for a finance manager and a sales manager, and then we do the heavy lifting.
so who can afford you?
Anyone can afford us. We are
Really?
reasonable. I'm looking into the camera. We are quite reasonable.
So if I was
Anyone.
looking, would you help
Yeah.
out a person
Yeah.
like me? Because remember last time I
So,
did ask you, I said,
yeah.
but who is there for me? If
Yeah,
I
so
need-
so I think it's what, especially for like smaller businesses, it's always like the real definition of what they need.
Okay.
I think the hardest part, and you know, I've gone through this, the hardest part was like being able to define roles and how it would work in like
Okay.
your organization. So when you know that, and we help you get there because we have like the ability to ask you the right questions,
Okay.
right? And when we get to that, we can even help you put together a job description, and then we hire together. Like we do the heavy lifting of like, if it's finding the people, whether we are headhunting, whether we are putting out an advert,
Yeah.
whether we are networking, we put together a list. You know, we collect all their information, you know, what they're getting at their current job, what they, you know, everything. And we even screen them to make sure they're fit, because when we get to know,
So there's someone who actually can do that.
yeah, there's actually quite a number of companies that don't do it as well as us.
Wow.
So, so we do that.
I
We
hear
bring
you,
you the list, and then we, you know, we hire together and we talk you through that process, because we've done a lot of such hiring. We're able to like advise you on like, you know, this is even when what you're looking for is impossible, because a lot of small businesses come and like
Yes.
will say, and then they must do content management, and then they must do this, and then they must do
Yes.
this, and I'm like, that person does not exist. So we're able to give you back that feedback
Okay,
and like
alright.
narrow it
Okay,
down and
okay.
like help you hire
Yes.
and place that person,
Yes.
and then you pay us accordingly.
Okay, so how I've never really, but like I said, this
Yeah.
is the yes season, and
So you
I
have
am
to ask.
asking
Ask.
because so many times I am lost.
Yeah.
I have been lost because I just simply did not know such a service or such a thing was really is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And one of them is if I'm going to grow, I need to seek the right advice.
Yeah.
And I need to get the right help.
Yeah.
And how do I go into that direction? By getting as much knowledge on who can help and in which direction.
Yeah.
And now hearing that, I'm like, oh, so there is someone to take that. Okay.
Yeah, so there's help, and I think it's sometimes you get to that point where it's too much for one person. Like, it's too much for you to, we recently had to hire someone to help us with our accounting, because I was like, you know what, I can't, I'm busy. I have a day job. I can't do these numbers, like, someone has to do the numbers. And I've never been a fan of like numbers.
No.
Like, I can
No,
look at numbers and
understand
make
it
sense
too.
of them, but with me, give me words anytime,
Yes.
So being able to like realize that you need that help, and to think to yourself, like, am I a real business if I can't afford some of these things?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah. It's a good question, because if I'm going to ever grow, and the key is growing, because you can manage the way you're managing, and it'll be all good. But, if you're ever going to build that school, maybe make Beauty Gardens a franchise or whatever, you're going to have to get help. That's
professional
it's too much.
help.
Yeah, it's too much for one person.
I don't even know where to begin.
That's the thing. Sometimes you just don't even know where to start.
Yes, you don't even know what what paperwork it requires and what.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you do.
So that's what I do. But ideally, I really, that's what I do now. That's how my gift has translated itself, because it started to steer me towards HR and people.
Okay.
But ideally, what I want, when you say what do you want to do, I definitely want to go into everything talent managing. That's from career management to people like you, to like artist management.
Please
I want to go into
us.
like media. Yeah, because I think I do it for free all the time.
Yeah.
The number of people I give advice,
Yes,
gosh,
exactly.
they just pay me in dinner and drinks, but not anymore. We're adding a price
some
to it.
value to it.
So that's the one thing, that's where it's going. And eventually, I also just want
But
to.
are you truly a business if you don't have, if you haven't put a value to your?
This new side of the talent managing, like, we're putting a value to it, because it's been something I've done for free. But I'm also like ready to evolve.
If you were
from
to think
HR.
of managing, like me, at which angle would you look at my growth now? A quick talent.
Okay.
How would you put me out there as a business, not as Pam? Forget Pam, as a business. Why? What's the first thing you would want?
I think you're pretty well clear about a lot of things around your your identity, your business identity. You're very clear about certain things, so half the work is done. I think you just need the nudge, or you just need like the push to not be afraid to grow. Yeah.
In that line of business, what do you see as growth?
In your line of business, I am not an expert, but I think there are many angles we can take it. But you already sound like you know about the teaching and the school. So like, how do those two things merge in a way that makes business sense? And how do we just get experimental and try and see, like, if it fails, it's okay. If it fails, we learn, we iterate. If it does,
it will align us in the right direction,
because I think there's a lot of things already going for you. I just think you need that extra nudge, because you've probably like figured this. Like, one thing's for sure is you've figured this out. Like the one salon and the one like boutique, you have it down. Like, I've seen how you guys operate. That you're an expert. But now it's to challenge you to take it to to a place that is uncomfortable for you. And you keep saying professional. So I think that's where we'll take you there.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I would approach it. Like, I'd throw you into
uncomfortable
a professional side. You don't like the growth. Yes.
Actually, success is painful.
Yeah. Because you know what this is? This is uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is uncomfortable.
This podcast is uncomfortable, but I feel like it's necessary for my growth, so that's why I
and also
made
necessary
it happen.
for my growth.
Yeah.
Usually, I was going to be comfortable just working, because there's no moving, it's not in my space. I'm comfortable in my space. But thank you for making me uncomfortable.
Oh man, it's been amazing. It's been more than I hoped for. So So I'm really glad we did this.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been awesome. So thank you so much for sitting through this conversation, this amazing conversation with Pam. And that was episode 1 wrapped. I think we both had a lot of fun. Both me and Pam and the crew here had a great time. And looking forward to episode 2. So yeah, stick to this channel. Come back for more. Cheers.